Egeria and Numa, the nymph who shaped Rome. In the early days of Rome, before the city became an empire, there was a king, wise, just, and revered. His name was Numa-Pompilius, and his reign from around 715 BCE to 673 BCE is remembered not for war, but for the foundation of peace and divine order. But the story of how Numa brought the god's will to his people is not just one of laws and rituals. It is a tale that weaves together the divine and the mortal, the mystical and the real. This is where we meet the nymph, Egeria, a figure whose very name echoes through the ages, yet whose true nature is a mystery that blurs the lines between myth and history. In Roman legend, nymphs were spirits of nature, often linked to the elements, trees, rivers, mountains, and woods. But Egeria was different. She was no ordinary nymph. She was the keeper of wisdom, a divine guide who carried with her the knowledge of the gods. And though many would seek her counsel, it was Numa-Pompilius, the second king of Rome, who would come to rely on her guidance more than any other. It is said, and this is where the myth begins, that Numa met Egeria during his reign in the sacred groves of the Alban Hills, a place revered by the Romans for its connection to the divine. There, in a tranquil moonlit grove, Numa encountered a vision, an ethereal woman, her beauty unmatched, her eyes filled with ancient wisdom. She was Egeria. Numa asked, "Who are you, fair one, who seems both mortal and divine?" And she answered, "I am Egeria, nymph of the woods, servant of the gods, and keeper of their sacred rites. It is I who guide those with the heart to seek wisdom." What followed was not just a meeting of two individuals, but the beginning of a partnership that would define Numa's rule. The myth tells us that Egeria imparted to Numa the secret knowledge of divine rituals, the laws that would bind the Roman people to the gods, and the structure of the priesthood that would oversee Rome's spiritual well-being. She taught him the ancient rites of Jupiter, Janus, and the Vestal Virgins, ensuring that the foundations of Rome's religious practices were set. It was through her wisdom that Numa became a king of peace, revered not just for his leadership, but for his ability to commune with the gods. Now, the details of Numa and Egeria's relationship are clouded by time. Some texts suggest that she was not just his advisor, but his lover. In the hearts of the people, Egeria came to be seen as a goddess, her love for Numa transcending the mortal realm. But whether or not their relationship was romantic, well, that is where the myth blurs. We know from ancient sources like the historian Plutarch that Numa often withdrew from his palace to spend time in solitude, where it was believed he would meet with Egeria in the woods, receiving divine counsel. These quiet moments were said to be sacred, filled with profound conversations about law, justice, and peace. And while Numa received wisdom from Egeria, he also gave her something in return, a place of honor among the gods. For in Roman legend it is said that the two shared a love so deep that the gods themselves watched in awe. Their union became an emblem of the sacred bond between the mortal world and the divine. But like all myths, tragedy looms on the horizon. Time passed, and Numa, as all mortals do, grew older. His reign continued for many years, shaping Rome into a city of peace. But eventually death came for him, as it does for all kings and men. Numa-Pompilius died in 673 BCE, his passing marking the end of an era for Rome. And here the legend of Egeria takes a sorrowful turn. For after Numa's death, it is said, again this is the realm of myth, that Egeria was consumed by grief. Her sorrow was so great that the gods, pitying her loss, decided to transform her into a stream. A river of water flowing endlessly through the land, her tears forever mingling with the earth. In the legend, this river, the Egerian stream, carried not just her sorrow, but also her wisdom, as if the very waters themselves whispered the secrets she had once shared with Numa. The stream became a place of pilgrimage where people came to seek guidance in times of grief or despair, hoping to catch a glimpse of the wisdom that Egeria had once bestowed upon the king. The story of Egeria, though wrapped in myth, is one that speaks to the heart of human experience. It is the tale of wisdom, love, loss, and the transformation of grief into something eternal. But there is more to the story of Numa, one that bridges the gap between myth and history. When Numa passed away, he was buried with something that has long piqued the interest of historians, his sacred books. These texts, containing the divine wisdom Egeria had shared with him, were said to hold the secrets of Rome's laws, rituals, and spiritual practices. According to Roman historian Plutarch, these books were placed with Numa in his tomb, meant to guide future generations. They were said to be written in divine script, containing the teachings and laws Numa had learned from Egeria. And these books were to remain hidden, preserved in the silence of his tomb. But centuries later, during the consulship of Cornelius and Baebius in 181 BCE, Numa's tomb was uncovered, and the sacred books were found. They were brought before the Senate of Rome, but after examination the texts were deemed too sacred for public knowledge. The Senate ordered them to be burned, ensuring that the divine wisdom of Egeria and Numa remained forever hidden. Thus, the story of Numa and Egeria is not only a tale of divine guidance and love, but one that speaks of lost knowledge, sacred wisdom that was too powerful for the world to hold. Their legacy, though veiled in myth and legend, continues to shape the spiritual heart of Rome. Though Egeria's form no longer walks the earth, her name lives on. Her wisdom shaped the early days of Rome, her love inspired kings, and her grief transformed into a river that flows through the annals of history. In the end, Egeria was not merely a figure of mythology, but a symbol, a reminder that the divine, whether in love, wisdom, or sorrow, is ever present in the world around us. And perhaps even now, if one listens closely to the whispering waters, they can hear Egeria's voice, guiding those who seek to understand the mysteries of the heart. Whether myth or legend, the story of Egeria and Numa lives on, intertwined in the rivers of time. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more tales from the ancient world.